In the picturesque suburb of Maplewood, Claire and Mark seemed to embody the perfect couple. They had built a life filled with laughter, two energetic children, and a circle of friends who admired their seemingly unshakable bond. Yet, behind closed doors, Claire felt a growing sense of restlessness. Her life had become a monotonous routine, filled with PTA meetings and grocery shopping, and she craved excitement and passion. When she met David, a charismatic new colleague at her marketing firm, her world was turned upside down. He was charming, adventurous, and he made her feel alive again. Their friendship quickly ignited into an affair that filled the void in her life, offering a thrilling escape from her responsibilities. Mark, a dedicated and hard-working mechanic, sensed the shift in Claire. He noticed her late nights at work and the subtle changes in her behavior. Although he trusted her completely, a nagging feeling of unease crept into his mind. One evening, as he was cleaning out the garage, he stumbled upon a hidden box containing mementos from their early years, told through a stark reminder of the love they once shared. But nestled inside was also a bracelet he had never seen before, a piece of jewelry that didn't belong to him. Feeling a mix of confusion and betrayal, Mark's instincts kicked in. He decided to investigate further, hoping to confront Claire with evidence rather than accusations. As he started to piece together her secret life, he discovered a series of flirty texts on her phone that left him shattered. Heartbroken, he felt a rush of anger but also a deep sadness for the life they had built together. Instead of confronting Claire immediately, Mark plotted his response carefully. He wanted to expose her betrayal, but he also wanted to ensure that he had all the facts straight. He enlisted the help of a private investigator, determined to uncover the full extent of Claire's infidelity. As the investigator dug deeper, Mark was shocked to learn that David had a history of manipulating women. He had left a trail of heartache and deceit in several cities, each time moving on before the truth caught up with him. Fueled by a mix of anger and a desire for justice, Mark decided that confronting David was just as important as confronting Claire. Meanwhile, Claire's affair took a darker turn. After a romantic weekend away with David, she discovered that she had contracted a disease from him. Initially, she brushed off the symptoms, convincing herself it was nothing serious. However, as her health deteriorated, the fear of facing Mark intensified. Desperate to keep her illness a secret, she avoided going to the doctor, convinced that if she could just get through this, everything would return to normal. When Claire finally confessed to Mark that she was feeling unwell, he feigned concern, all the while planning how to reveal the truth. "I'm here for you, no matter what," he said, masking the turmoil brewing inside him. His heart raced as he carefully navigated their conversations, listening intently to every word she spoke. Days turned into weeks, and as Claire's condition worsened, Mark's resolve strengthened. He continued to play the devoted husband while secretly gathering evidence of her affair. Each new discovery fueled his anger, but he also felt a strange sense of sadness for Claire, trapped in her own web of lies. The moment of reckoning arrived during a dinner party they hosted for close friends. Mark invited David, knowing the tension would be palpable. The evening was intended to be a celebration, but Mark had a different agenda in mind. As the guests arrived, laughter filled the air, but beneath the surface, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken truths. Mark engaged the guests in casual conversation, all the while observing Claire and David as they interacted. He noted how effortlessly they laughed together, the chemistry still palpable despite the secret he held. As the evening progressed, Mark decided it was time to unveil the truth. "Claire, there's something we need to discuss," he said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. The laughter faded and all eyes turned to him. "I know about David." Gasps filled the room, and Claire's face paled. "What are you talking about?" she stammered, panic rising in her voice. Mark continued, his heart racing but his resolve unwavering. "I know about your affair. I found your messages, and I know you've been lying to me." He turned to David, who had gone pale. "You manipulated Claire and put her health at risk." Just when it seemed Mark had achieved his ultimate payback, the evening took an unexpected twist. Claire, desperate and cornered, revealed a shocking truth. She had only cheated because she felt abandoned. "I thought you were going to leave me," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I thought you didn't love me anymore." The revelation shocked everyone in the room. Mark hadn't intended to hurt Claire. He had been seeking guidance for their marriage. The emotional chaos escalated as friends exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of where to direct their sympathy. Feeling the weight of their collective gaze, Mark stepped back, grappling with the newfound knowledge. "So you chose to betray me instead?" he asked, hurt flashing in his eyes. The room was heavy with tension. David, sensing the unraveling situation, attempted to downplay his involvement, but Mark refused to let him off the hook. You played with both our lives, and you will pay for this, he declared, a fire igniting within him. In the midst of the turmoil, the dinner party became a catalyst for honesty. Friends pressed for clarity, demanding that both Claire and Mark confront their feelings. With everyone watching, Claire admitted her fears of inadequacy and abandonment. I didn't know how to talk to you about what I was feeling, she said, her voice trembling. Mark took a deep breath, his anger subsiding as he realized the complexity of their situation. We've both made mistakes, he replied softly, feeling the weight of their shared pain. But we can't move forward unless we're honest with each other. In the days that followed, Mark and Claire took time apart to reflect on their relationship. They sought individual counseling, grappling with the emotions that had driven them apart. Mark focused on his anger and hurt, while Claire confronted her feelings of loneliness and despair. As weeks passed, Claire's health took a turn for the worse. She finally mustered the courage to see a doctor, and the news was grim. The disease she contracted was serious, and treatment would take time. Stricken with guilt, Mark felt compelled to be there for her, even as their marriage hung in the balance. Determined to support her through this difficult time, Mark began to shift his focus from revenge to healing. He took on the role of caregiver, attending doctor's appointments and helping Claire manage her treatment. Their shared experiences brought moments of vulnerability and honesty, allowing them to reconnect on a deeper level. During one particularly emotional night, as they sat together in silence, Claire spoke about her fears and regrets. I never wanted to hurt you, Mark. I just didn't know how to ask for what I needed, she admitted, her voice breaking. Mark, too, began to share his own struggles. I was so focused on my work and providing for the family that I neglected our relationship. I thought I was doing the right thing, he said, realizing how their miscommunication had created a rift between them. As they opened up to each other, the walls they had built began to crumble. They acknowledged the mistakes they had made, and instead of assigning blame, they chose to understand one another's perspectives. It was during this time that they began to forge a new connection, rooted in honesty and empathy. Claire's journey to recovery was long and challenging, but Mark stood by her side, supporting her through the physical and emotional trials. As Claire healed, their bond deepened, and they began to rediscover the love that had once defined their relationship. Months later, during a quiet evening at home, Mark surprised Claire with a heartfelt gesture. He recreated their first date, complete with the same restaurant and a playlist of songs that had played that night. As they reminisced about their early days, laughter filled the air, and for the first time in a long time, they felt a renewed sense of hope. I've learned that love is about more than just passion, Claire said, her eyes shining. It's about being there for each other, even in the darkest times. Mark nodded, a smile spreading across his face. And I realized that communication is key. We need to talk, not just about the good times, but also the struggles. That's what will keep us strong. In the end, Claire and Mark emerged from the chaos transformed. They chose to prioritize their relationship, focusing on rebuilding trust and understanding. They became advocates for open communication, learning to express their needs and desires openly. As they watched their children play in the backyard one sunny afternoon, Mark and Claire exchanged a knowing glance, grateful for the journey that had brought them to this moment. They had faced the ultimate test and emerged renewed, ready to embrace the future together, stronger than ever.